Hi, welcome to session 2 of the
All
All
for
for
one
One
challenge.
Challenge 2024.
Yes, it is a
Finally.
good time.
So, if you missed the morning session, I want to encourage you to go back and watch session 1 when you have a chance. But we are glad that you are here for session 2.
Mhm.
And this Spring Freedom Challenge is only going to be the 2 sessions. So, it is just today.
Yes.
So don't worry about like if you missed it ever, we'll keep session 1 and session 2 live on YouTube through Monday. I thought, a lot of people have Easter stuff and all that stuff going on. So through Monday night, we'll keep it available for everybody on YouTube, and then it will be available on our partner page.
Yes.
So we are glad you are here. This is meant to be an inspirational anti-trafficking event, and so it is all about how everybody can do something to fight human trafficking in their daily lives, and that is why it's called All for One. I'm excited about our speakers today. You want to talk a little bit about them, Zona?
Yeah. So we actually have a speaker who has been on our podcast before. Her name is Amber Love, and she's been doing some amazing work with a program called God's Heart to Eradicate Trafficking,
Oh, wow.
and is talking about what the church can do and how to get involved in fighting trafficking as a church.
Nice.
So, she has some really amazing things. I was trying to pull up her link that she had sent me. Let's see here. It's going to make me download it first.
Of course.
Okay.
It's never just easy. It's always like, okay, now do these 3 hoops before.
Right.
Mm.
Where did it go? Do, 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 do. A little bit of technical difficulty. It'll be great.
We'll get it. We'll get it there. Yes, so we have Amber up first, and then a little bit later we'll have Mo. And I'm really excited to hear from both women. It is. It's going to be inspiring.
Yeah. So they do have the QR code, which you should be able to pull up. You're seeing that, I'm assuming. Let me know if you guys can see that online or
I
if it
don't.
looks
I don't think it's showing. Add
okay.
to the
Because it
stage.
says
There we
it's
go.
sharing.
It didn't add to
Wow.
the stage yet, so there it is.
Okay. There we go. See, we need all of us to work together. um, yes. So this is where Amber is actually doing a lot of her work right now. And if you see the QR code in the corner, they do have a free video training on God's heart to eradicate trafficking. And we are getting that all
Awesome.
shared here for you. So even if you're watching on the replay, that QR code will still work.
Okay.
And it's not going to expire before you're here, which is nice. Um, and then the other thing that she is doing is if you have a women's ministry or something that would like to invite her to come, it's not just a women's ministry. I mean, it can be a group, it could be a PTA, it could be any of the individual ministries, youth ministry, anything like that. And she is able to come and speak on God's heart to eradicate trafficking. And I love that, being part of
Me
God's
too.
redemptive story, because I know that is definitely my story, is that God was able to redeem a lot of things, and now I'm able to be a voice in ways that I never even thought was possible.
Right? It's pretty awesome.
So All right. I am going to try calling her.
Okay.
Did you want to recap what you had talked about this morning? Just
Oh,
because I
yeah.
had a lot of good feedback on your presentation, your slide that you had.
Oh, all right.
Um,
Oh,
because it really, oh, I have to stop sharing. We can only have so many things shared at once, okay?
isn't that funny? That is funny. All right.
Yes, it is amazing how he turns it all for good. All right, I'm gonna try to give her a call soon because I think she's having problems getting it.
Okay.
Okay.
You do. All right. Let me add it to the stage. All right. So I did share this in the morning session, but I'll quickly recap for those of you joining us in the afternoon. These are 5 ways anybody, you, can fight human trafficking in your daily life. One, educate yourself and others. Just the fact that you're here for this training is a big step forward. And you can share it with others that you think will get something out of it, or that maybe you're just finding out about this. You're like, oh my goodness. So definitely educate yourself and share it with others. That can be through trainings, that can be through special websites like Polaris or International Justice Mission or A21 or Dressember. It could be through podcasts. I know Dressember has Things Survivors Wish That You Knew podcasts. We host the Persons with Lived Experience podcast. Both of those are great to learn about human trafficking and how you can fight it and prevent it. And they're good resources to share with others as well. Just as Andrea mentioned earlier, you can also use your personal education to educate your children or other kids in your life, which makes a big difference in prevention of the next generation getting trafficked. Number 2, keep your eyes open. If you see something that even seems a little bit off, or you notice kids that maybe aren't quite acting like normal kids, like maybe they're hypersexualized or they're not able to engage with school or life like other kids can. Definitely, if you see something that seems a little bit weird, or maybe you notice a certain kind of tattoo, things like that, you can call the human trafficking hotline, 888-3737, 888. Even if you don't have enough evidence or whatever to call the police, you can call that hotline, and it helps establish a pattern of behavior, or maybe highlight a hot spot so that the Polaris who runs the hotline can notify the authorities and maybe start a case, so start an investigation. Number 3, anybody can do this. Your dollars make a difference. Buy fair trade. That could be fair trade certified products at the grocery store. I was just talking about Rainforest Alliance is another one. And also, you can buy items from Fair Trade Federation companies like Trades of Hope, Papillon. There's actually quite a few, but definitely look up Fair Trade Federation because you can get the whole list. So that makes a huge difference, because then you know that your items that you're purchasing are not sourced from those that are engaging in labor trafficking. Number 4, love your neighbor. This seems simple, but it's not that simple, but we are carrying forth a commandment of Jesus. And that means you care about these kids. You care about um, whether this house seems to have a lot of people in and out, in and out, and it's not the same people. So it's not people that live there.
Mhm.
This is something that definitely you would call the human trafficking hotline for. But love your neighbor, volunteer, do the outreaches. Um, um, as Andrea mentioned earlier, the outreaches to the women working at the strip clubs, volunteer for youth organizations, youth groups, Boys and Girls Club, oh, Big Sisters, Little Sisters, or Big Sisters, Big Brothers is what I was thinking of. Where having a mentor in a child's life makes a huge difference in how their adulthood goes, right? And number 5, give to reputable organizations. It doesn't have to be us. It can't be us. We love it. We have a little party every time we get a donation, to be honest.
Yeah.
um, you can give to I like International Justice Mission. Dressember gives to several different reputable organizations, so I like to give to them. That's why I do Dressember every year, because I know it's going to organizations that have boots on the ground and are doing the good work.
Mhm.
A21 is also an excellent one, and that's all I can think of right this second. But there are several. Um, Bonus number 6, anybody can do pray.
Yes.
Pray, pray, pray. This works in all different areas. It works in prevention. It works in justice. It works in, miraculous opening of doors, changing hearts, freeing minds. It works in because darkness is as light. We're not shining a light necessarily. We are just enabling. We're opening the door for miraculous things to happen. Also, pray for a restoration of hearts and minds. You know, only 10% of sex trafficking survivors are rescued. Now, there are more that eventually find a way to leave that life. But there are so many that not only do they need healing, but there's so
Mhm.
much that we could do as far as fighting human trafficking in the area of prevention. And that is why prayer is so important and why we continue to have trainings like this. So you can join us on Tuesday nights where we
Mhm.
pray here on YouTube. And that is easy to just come alongside and agree with us. We pray straight out of the Bible. And I don't know if we've had a repeat verse, but um, it really is a good mix of Old and New Testament that we pray together. And it's powerful, I think.
Yeah.
So that's my list. Actually,
I
6
love
ways
it.
that you can fight. I'll remove that. All
Very good.
right.
Very good. Well, we have Amber, and I'm actually going to read her introduction, but
Okay.
um, it's amazing the connections that God gives you at the time that you need them to
Yes.
do what he has for you to do. So I always think that's fascinating how he works those things together. So Amber is a survivor leader and faith partnership coordinator for Safe House Project. She's worked in the field of crisis intervention on and off for 10 years and is committed to mobilizing the faith community to join the spiritual battle against sex trafficking. Today, Amber has volunteered to share a little bit about how she became so passionate for the support of the faith community and her work with Safe House Project.
Yay. We're so glad you're here, Amber.
Yay! Hi, there you guys are.
Hello, hello.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for having me back. 2 years in a row, meeting you guys on LinkedIn and changing my life forever.
Right?
Aw.
So always a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Awesome. Well, we're going to let you take it away.
Okay.
And then let me know if you want me to pop up the thing that you shared with me
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the screen.
We
Okay.
can do that at the end when I get to that part. That would be great. How many
Perfect.
people did you are participating today?
I don't know.
Yeah. I was going to say, it
Okay.
is
It's
only
a
showing us.
mystery.
Yeah.
There was a Zoom,
It,
'cause I can't see everybody's beautiful faces, so I just
Yeah.
kind of wanted to know what the crowd was, but that is totally fine. So, like they said, my name is Amber Love, and a little bit about myself. First want to start with a couple ways that I identify, because I have many things that have contributed to who I am today. And the first and most important is that I am a daughter of the King of Kings. Happy Resurrection Sunday to anyone who practices that belief system. And secondly, I am a third generational sex trafficking survivor. And this has been quite a journey to come out of the mental slavery, the spiritual slavery, and just the physical, things that I've gone through in my life to get to this place today. So those are just two things I just want to start out because I think they're the most important to understand. Um, I work for Safe House Project now, and the only reason I even went back into working with nonprofits or working for anybody was just because the work that they were doing, that they were offering for me to take on, had completely aligned with a vision and just downloaded information that God had given me about sexual immorality in the church. And so I want to share just a little bit about what that was and what that experience was. So hopefully you will also see my heart behind this new 8-week video Bible study that's hosted on Right Now Media, that's free. Your leadership can do it at the church. Your leadership in any kind of Christian organization can do it. And then also for small groups. So we have that available. Again, that's 8 weeks, and you get a video each week. And then we also have our new, this says not for sale because this is my review copy, but it's going into print pretty soon. But this is a beautiful companion project that I myself have had a part in creating to support your journey to discover what God's heart is for you and for your church individually, because each of us are called to serve the least of these in a different way. So this was only about 6 years ago. God can do so much in a short period of time when we surrender. So about 6 years ago, I had found myself in a psych ward for being suicidal. I had recently been sexually assaulted again, and I was just, broken to the place beyond repair. And, a family, a child, none of that was worth fighting for anymore at this point in my life. So I went to a psych ward. I got out and decided I'm going to go to a church and I'm going to renounce my faith. And I've grown up in the church, so it had been with me for a long time, whether I was practicing or not, or even understood what that faith relationship was. So I go to this random church with the intent to disrupt their service, to cause a scene, and to make my stance known publicly. And I got into the sanctuary and my heart shifted to a place of desperation where I sat down and said, God, you got 45 minutes or else I'm doing this. And that service was on Ezekiel and the dry bones and how God brought a dead army to life and defeated the enemy. So I'm leaving this service. This random man was like, you need to come to my wife's Bible study, and was very intent on it, to the point where I was like, hey man, if I agree to come to this Bible study, can I leave? And so he was like, yeah, of course. And so I got in my car and decided to turn it to a Christian radio station. And Lauren Daigle's Come Alive, Dry Bones song had been released around that time. So it was playing on the radio, and I just began to weep in the car. But I still decided that wasn't enough to not give up. So I said, I'm going to go to this Bible study. I'm going to tell all of these perfect women with their 2.5 kids in their little sundresses. I was very judgmental. I was hurt. I'm going to tell them what I've been through. They're going to leave, and that's my reason to denounce God. So I show up to the church again the next day for this Bible study and found my moment where I decided I was going to do this. There was no warm welcome into it. There was nothing that we were studying that would have, said this would be a good time to spill all of your trauma onto all of these unsuspecting people. But I did. And in the process of spilling all the details of my pain, I dissociated. I checked out I'm pretty sure I was continuing to talk and tell all these things. And when I was coming back, I realized that dissociation kind of takes you to a different place. So understand that sometimes when someone dissociates, we lose, like, you lose vision, you lose hearing, those senses are not working as they normally would in a calm, stable manner. So I opened my eyes and everybody's gone. And for a moment I was wounded. I was shocked. I was like, wow, they really left me. And then my hearing started to come back, and I started hearing people behind me, and I turned around, and all of these women were like laying hands on me or extending their hands, and they were praying, and they were, you could see tears in people's eyes. They were fighting on my behalf. And that was a life-changing moment, because never have I encountered that kind of intercession on my behalf from people of faith. Like, why, I had never met people that believed that way. So my journey went on, and we don't have all the time in the world to go through all of that today. But there came a point where I was in my car and I was praising God and singing loud music. And he said, "Will you give it up and follow me?" And that's all I heard was his voice. And I just said yes, because what am I going to live for? I'm not going to live for myself. Like, there's nothing left. And so I began this journey. I left crisis intervention for a little while, found myself cleaning houses, because I didn't have a plan B for my life. It was always, I need to do something in this field and become amazing so that everything that I had been through would matter and have purpose to it. And scripture that's coming to my mind right now is that he will use all things to the good. God did not want these horrible things to happen to me or to others, or even you who are listening, things that have happened to you. They were not sent by God, but he will use what the enemy meant for evil and use it for our good. And that scripture used to just really tick me off, because I'm like, how about you just stop it? How about you just not let this happen? But on the other side of this healing journey, I can see how the experiences that the enemy meant to take me out have allowed me to reach into dark places where other people are lost and bring them out. So in this 2 years of cleaning houses, cleaning toilets, and praying for people here and there, he began to just show me a lot about myself. I still very much struggled with sexual sins. This was a coping mechanism. Like several women in the Bible who society rejected and despised, who were sexually exploited, God used them. And hold on one second, guys. I'm so sorry. That's all right. No problem. God used them and healed them, and we don't have to be perfect to be used by God, but we should be striving for holiness. And so I was in this season of not knowing how to let go of the past and still living for God. And so I sought out information through worldly friends, through other hotlines that could give me resources that told me I didn't have a problem. And then eventually I went to the church body. And unfortunately, the message that I got from the church body was that God understands you have needs and you'll be fine. I later, I realized that wasn't the case. I know that there's a lot in the Bible, but I wasn't willing to look it up at the time to fully understand, because then I felt like I'd be responsible with it, and I didn't know if I could quit on my own this behavior that I've had for most of my life, whether it was being done to me or I was choosing. So God let me see that, and one day I decided to order a Passion Translation Bible, and I just opened it. I liked the version, and it showed me, I couldn't open it for a month and a half without reading about sexual immorality, about how it grieves his soul, about how it's a trap, that it leads to death, and all of these things. And he took me through a season in my life where I learned how to deny my flesh, which was it was painful. When you're killing something old that you don't want to carry anymore, it doesn't feel good. And there is a little bit of a grief process of being the new that God has created you to be, and letting go of the old and burying it and grieving that dead part of yourself. But through his strength, he gave me strength in my weakness, and he downloaded all these things he had, including the forgiveness of traffickers, including the forgiveness of abusers, helping me understand that they are also in the church. And if they would repent and turn from their sins, God also died on the cross. His blood also covers them. A lot of people that are acting in that way come from generational trauma and wounds and their own things, and he came for everybody. So that was kind of my outlook. I knew I was going to go and try to mobilize the faith community to start operating and a place of seeking holiness and breaking off the chains of sexual immorality that we see in our culture, hookup culture, dating websites. It's in the church as well. So Brittany called me from Safe House Project and said, hey girl, what does success look like to you with everything that's happened to you in your life? And I told her about my heart for the church, that I wanted to bring freedom. I wanted to bring freedom. And I wanted to see people living in the fullness of who they were created to be. And she told me about their 8-week Bible study. It is an amazing edited video content. And she said, check it out and let me know what you think. So I watched the videos and was just in complete shock at the quality, about the amount of content that is in there, that's addressing things that it's hard for a pastor in churches to address on a Sunday morning. It's heavy material. It's not easy to hear. And so not being pastors, not leading churches, we have a place where we can come in and say, hey, this is a real issue. And how can we help the church find God's calling for them to support survivors that are in their churches, that are in their communities? So God's Heart to Eradicate Trafficking really takes you through. I'm going to just read the titles for you guys so that you can understand what's in here. We have prayers. We have quotes from survivors, including myself. We have discussion questions. We have thought questions. There's scripture in here to really bring truth to this, because without the Word of God, without His Spirit, we will not see the eradication of trafficking happen in our lifetime. And that is one scripture, which is the whole point of this, that I want to share. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, I will heal the land, and I will forgive their sins. So it outlines for us what needs to happen spiritually for us to be on the front lines and take back what the enemy has stolen, which is our children and our innocence and our youth and our adults. Knowing that 40% of trafficking survivors were trafficked as a child is a devastating number. So mobilizing the faith community, we got to do this. We got to get it together. And part of that is acknowledging our own sexual sin, or whatever sins may be in your life, because He said, my people who are called by my name, if they would humble themselves and pray and seek my face, then they will hear from heaven, or He will hear from heaven. He will forgive their sins. He will forgive their sins, and He will heal the land. So we have eight lessons, or I guess technically 9. We talk about miracles and revival. We talk about confronting the darkness, the realities of trafficking. So we will give a lot of definitions and understanding of content so that everybody can be on the same page. Faith without works is dead, which is freedom declared, received, and lived out. Layers of healing, renewing the body, mind, and spirit. The offensive approach, which is the power and authority of Jesus Christ. Victory and triumph, to Him be the glory. Act in community, mobilizing your people for such a time as this, uniting to eradicate trafficking. And then chapter 9, beauty from ashes, moving forward in unity. So I hope that, if you're listening to this, that this would intrigue you. The videos are free. This will be available very, very soon. Like within the next couple of weeks, it'll be available on Amazon. It'll be on our Safe House Project website, and maybe even with Bring Freedom if they wanted to host that as well. So go to safehouseproject.org. Actually, I believe, Zona, you have the link to the God's Heart to Eradicate Trafficking videos. When you fill out that information, all of your information is going to come directly to me. Yep, right down there, and that you can scan that with your phone. But there's also a link that I sent her. All your information will come to me. It is safe with me, and you'll probably get a call from me, just letting you know what to expect, being in touch with you as you're going through this with your small groups or community group, or presenting this to your leadership. If you decide to present it to your leadership, I would love to be on those calls to share my heart, to let them know how I can come alongside and help the church, who are being courageous in stepping into this space. So we want to make sure at Safe House Project that we are doing that. And I think that's it. Unless Zona or Dixie, you guys have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer.
Well, we did have one person that wanted to know how to bring that to their church.
Okay. So I would recommend that, oh, hi, Mo, that you would go to this link that's down there. You can see the video material. You can email me at amber@safehouseproject.org, and I can give you this flyer. I can send you a little email, include the links in it. And you can just share that with your pastors, and include me in the email as you're introducing it. That would be really helpful. I am having a hard time getting meetings in churches because oftentimes they think we're trying to sell something, or they, which again, like they were saying, we always need the support. Our money goes to supporting survivors as we are flying them to different programs, certifying programs for their safety. But the most important thing is that this material gets into the church body, that people are transformed, and so that we can fight this from a spiritual defense as opposed to just with our earthly tools that we have.
Yes. Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amber. That was
We really appreciate you, and we're so excited about.
It was so good. Thank you.
I'm glad. It was weird talking to myself the whole time because you guys disappeared on the. I was like, wait, where'd you go?
Well, we
Yes.
just want everybody to be able to see your face all big because you're so pretty.
Oh, thank you. It's Jesus, y'all. These and some good moisturizer.
Yes. Moisturizer is important.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
So,
but yeah, so thank you for jumping on and sharing that. We want to kind of give you props for sharing so candidly, because I think that a lot of times it's hard, especially when you're speaking to a group of people that tend to be very active in their faith community. But I think more of us have gotten to the place where we're like, okay, let's address the elephants in the room. Let's actually deal with the secret sin and things, and that's really powerful, especially with everything that's coming out in the media right now.
And that's the thing, is that we don't want to. Some people say that this is an invisible crime, but it's right in front of our faces if we know what to look for. And we speak about people who have certain vulnerabilities set up in their life, who have a family member who's in or out of jail, ever been incarcerated, witnessing abuse in the family, poverty, adoption. I was, taken away from my family and already, probably molested before that age and not having the resources back then. So I was just a target. So there are so many of the broken families that are coming to churches, the people that are desperate for something. They are the people that have those stories. And I can't count the amount of times in the last week that I've gotten on calls and I've shared candidly, because I think it's important. I think that's the only way people are going to be set free, is if we're just honest about what we've experienced, that shared just their deepest secret with me that they couldn't bring out to the church because of shame.
Right.
And that's not even necessarily true anymore. Like, our pastors want us to share those things, but we come in guarded because of past hurts or hurts from other believers who are on their own journey. So definitely need the church to heal, alongside the people that they're supporting.
Yeah. I agree.
Amen.
Yeah. Thank you, Amber.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
I don't see any questions right now. So we are good.
Well, you can hear my full story when the first time I ever shared it. I sped through it like a little, I don't know, roadrunner, on Dixie and Zona's podcast. You can find that episode. I'm not sure which one it is, but the full story is on there. and also reach out to me, amber@safehouseproject.org. I'd love to talk to you, see what's on your heart, what you took from this, and if I can connect you to any other services.
Mhm.
Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Amber. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
All right.
Very.
Did you want to do anything in between, or you want to just go ahead and transition to our next guest?
Well, we can go ahead and bring Mo on, and then we'll kind of wrap up a little bit at the end,
Okay.
if Mo's ready. So give us a thumbs up if you're ready, Mo.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Right.
And then do you have her intro pulled up, or I can pull it up real quick?
Her intro. I don't know. Did she send an actual intro? I'm sorry.
Well, nope,
I've had like so much going on.
I did not send an intro.
Okay, so
Um,
I was looking at uh,
Let me.
her Facebook, which I love her.
Yes.
I love her Facebook because it's just like full of emojis,
Yes.
because it's all creative like she is. So I just wanted to read what it actually says, but imagine all the emojis in between. It says child of God,
Emojis.
emojis, child of God, activist, advocate, and abolitionist. And the abolitionist has swords and a shield around it, and it's so awesome. So I'm so happy that Mo, or Maureen, as some people may know her, is here with us today for the All for One Challenge 2024. Yeah, we did have her on the podcast last year, and it was powerful. In
Wowie.
fact, it was so powerful, I had to check in on her a few times after.
Yeah. Yes. Here.
But she is doing wonderfully and is a very powerful woman, and I'm so excited to have her on today. Thanks for being here, Mo.
Thank you, Dixie and Zona, for inviting me back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been almost a year since since you were kind enough to ask me to share my story, and I too, just like Amber, it was the first time I spoke about it publicly, and I was sharing with Zona, I don't know, maybe a week or two ago, how I didn't even know until I told my story that I was so dissociated.
Right.
Right until the story. So yeah, it was a heck of a year. It was quite a roller coaster ride. But and in between helping my husband, who is a brain injury survivor. So I wanted to share with people what they can do about trafficking. I am a
Right. Hold on
child.
1 second.
Okay.
We're gonna remove. We're still listening, but I'm gonna give you the stage. All right. Thank you, Mo.
Okay. So, so I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse as well as adult sexual abuse. And if you want to listen to my story, you can go to their Persons with Lived Experience podcast, anywhere podcasts are, and listen to my story. So that's my why. That's how I got into, well, no, that's not how I got into it. I met Dixie through Trades of Hope, and I didn't know anything about human trafficking. I didn't even really know that I was trafficked, because trafficking is force, fraud, or coercion. And, I had been abused so many times, I didn't know, and I was dissociated. So anyway, I learned about this and still not really owning my own story yet. I developed a passion to fight for these people that I didn't realize was also me, and do something about it. When I learned about it, that really wasn't the venue for me. So some things happened in life that also made me not be able to do what I was doing at the time. So I had to kind of shift. So I'm going to talk about today, now that I'll get to it, about what you can do from where you are to help fight human trafficking. Some of them may be repeated. Dixie did a good presentation about what what she does, and I think there were 6. Um, from where you are, it doesn't have to be a full-time job. People have jobs, they're parents, you have kids, you have appointments, you have families, you have dinner to cook. Most of us can't devote our whole day to something like this. A lot of my advocacy and things I do happen through social media, and letter writing, and just if the opportunity arises, and sometimes if it doesn't, I'll just be boldly talking about it to people in circumstances. And then I'll feel them out. Like, you can tell if people don't want to know anything about it. It's a tough subject, right? So here are some things that I can do, and you can do too, from your home. So I have some notes that I'm going to look at. And one of them is, the first one for me is pray. I need guidance, and I let God lead me to where. I don't usually work off of a script. I'll scribble notes on what I'm going to do. Like for today, I have some notes, but usually I'll go just verbatim. It works better for me. I'm less stressed because I tend to over prepare, and then I'll forget things. So I'll pray and ask for God's guidance. I think it's important for you to do your own research and find maybe charities and resources, and then vet them, right? Like, make sure they're good. They have, they're a moral company, they have values. And one of the things I use besides doing my own research is I go to charitynavigator.org. And that has some, they have their own vetting system, and you can do some background checks on any charity, not just trafficking charities, but to find out more about those charities, right? 2 of the big charities that, besides bringfreedom.org, that I support are IJM, which is International Justice Mission.org, and Dressember.org. I'm continually learning about domestic and international trafficking from both of those organizations. I'm learning continually. There's no way that I know everything there is to know about trafficking. I learn every day about it. So again, IJM, Dressember, charitynavigator.org. I think that it's very important that you learn and educate yourself so you can educate others. One of my things I like to say in any arena is you have to educate if you want to eradicate something. Like we're talking about trafficking here. So we need to let people know, first of all, that it exists and actually what trafficking is, because it is not just only what you see in the movies. It is not just only something like the Taken or Sound of Freedom movie. It is happening in our backyards, in our schools, in our gymnasiums, on our sports teams, in bars. It's just not happening to kids. It's happening to teenagers and adults and children and, toddlers and babies. So people need to know that this is happening. So observe and awareness I have. So in real life, be on your toes, be a safe adult. If back to that saying, if you see something, say something. Have the wherewithal and the boldness. If you sense something is off, that gut feeling or the hair on the back of your neck when you're witness an interaction between a child and adult, you know that something is wrong. Be bold enough to go interrupt. You have to be bold enough to go interrupt. That's loving your neighbor right there. That's stepping out of your comfort zone to possibly help a child or someone or an adult or a person at a bar that you saw somebody drop something in their drink. Go intervene. Have the boldness to do that. That's a big part of it, the boldness. What else? Yeah, be a safe adult. So I have be a safe adult because I didn't feel I had one. I grew up in a very, I grew up in a culture that secrets were the culture. You know, if a safe adult isn't going to ask you to keep secrets. Um, so be aware of that around your children, other children. You know, if someone said, well, they told me to keep it a secret. I didn't tell anybody that was around me that I thought might have been a safe adult because I was sworn to secrecy and threatened that something bad would happen to me or my family. So just keep your eyes peeled for people. And observe and be aware, not just in real life out in the public, but at home with cybersecurity. That it's there's so much being shared. There's so many, sadly, opportunities that people take and take advantage of children. Um, you know, send me a picture, or you know, they get invited to a game, and these children are getting groomed and lured into a situation that they don't have the wherewithal or you know, the brain power to understand what's really happening to them, because our brains aren't fully developed. Like I think it was Zona that said, you know, your prefrontal cortex isn't developed until 25. You don't have the decision making skills, you don't have the awareness skills, you're a kid. What was I there? Let's see. Yeah. So I wanted to say there's some apps that are out there and some other resources that can help you with that. There is a group called Protect Young Eyes on Instagram that you can follow, and they usually have very good tips, tricks, things you can do to watch your children. And there are two apps that I'm aware of off the top of my head that help monitor your children's social media accounts and web surfing. One is called Covenant Eyes, and one is called Bark, like a dog bark. And I think that one actually barks on your phone when a nude something comes up on your children's phone or something like that that's inappropriate pops up. So those are a couple resources for you. You know, and what I'm doing is when I find these, I'm sharing them, right? I'm sharing them on social media. I don't have kids, so I'm sharing them hoping parents will see this and hoping parents know that it's even an issue. You know, it's got to be hard being a parent nowadays. I can't even imagine. You can call the helpline, 888-3737-888, if you see something, if you're not feeling bold enough to intervene. I'd probably do both because, you know, that's just who I am. Advocate or volunteer in person to a local food pantry, a domestic violence organization, any type of socioeconomic support organization, you know, a recovery organization. All of these type of things are factors that can be bullseyes for traffickers. You know, people that have addictions, people that are in bad socioeconomic situations, have bad mental health. All of this stuff is a drawing of traffickers. I'm not thinking of good words. It's been a heck of a week, so sorry about that. I'm having a problem finding the words for that, but it's a draw for traffickers. You know, kids with one parent, adopted, mental health issues, addiction issues, the trans LGBTQIA community. You know, it's just it's everywhere. But it would be a good thing also you can do is become a mentor to someone, just one kid even. I like to think that I'm helping with that with my great niece. Um, you know, all for one. It's going to take all of us to help eradicate this scourge of humanity. Read a book. Read a book on it. There's a really good book. It's called Land of the Free by Nick Canuso. Um, and it's a really good book. It's a human trafficking in America and the solutions to end it. I would highly advise getting that book to read it. Then there's consumer awareness, right? Like buy fair trade, buy ethically sustainable products. Again, they're expensive. You can start switching out small. You can just know where your stuff's coming from. Just educate yourself on where things are coming from. There is a website, I think I emailed it to Dixie, where you can go to learn about what are some of the most common products that have child labor and labor trafficking. And then there is another website. I don't have it. I emailed it to her. I'm sorry. Maybe I can post it after. That have actual companies, and it shows the supply chain transparency. And a lot of the high-end fashion houses have, like Shine, Temu, any of those, like those are for sure. Like you don't want to buy from them. Just use your dollar smartly. That's labor trafficking right there. Shine and Temu for sure. Don't buy from them. That's helping. That's something you can do, right? Very easy thing. Have the hard conversations. Have them with your children. Have them with your girlfriends. Have them with your friends. Have them with other parents that you might know. Have them with your coworkers. It needs to be discussed. If you don't talk about it, nobody's going to know about it. What else do I have? Yeah, so this is a good one. Meet and write your local, state, federal elected officials often and continually, and call them and leave messages. Squeaky wheel, right? It's a really easy thing to do nowadays. A lot of times there's pre-formed letters, and all you have to do is sign your name and address so they can verify that, and it goes right to them. It takes 2 seconds. Advocacy is very easy nowadays. You can go to house.gov. You can go to congress.gov. You can go to 270 to win. .gov, and you can write to your congressman, find out who your representatives are, find out who your senators are, write to the president. You can get that from all of them. Start making waves and let people know. What else do I have here? Oh, follow. Just follow and read organizations on social media. Make sure they're good ones, vet them. And maybe if you find and vet one good organization, look and see who they follow. And then start following them to know that you're getting good information, good solid data from these organizations. And just to know, to finish up with, is whether you're a business, a church, a mom, a dad, a college student, a college student, learn and take action and just do something. You can do like one thing, like don't buy from Temu and Shine, or Sheen, however you say it. Don't buy from them. I don't even know how to say it because I don't buy from them. The clothes look nice. The clothes are cheap, right? There's a reason. Anyway, my why for doing this is because we all deserve dignity and freedom. God made us for that. God made us to be free. And we are here to help others. We are here to serve others. So pick one of the things I talked about today. Do one of them. And do it with passion, because you don't want to just do it because you think that you have to do it. Pick one that you're passionate about and go for it. It doesn't take much. If all of us do one thing, things will happen. And again, I'm going to finish up with what I started with, prayer. And I am guilty of not going to all the intercessory prayer things for Bring Freedom. I sometimes have things going on. However, that doesn't mean we can't pray throughout the day. It doesn't mean when we see something, we can't pray about it, or other people, or just continually pray throughout the day for what is happening. And the big piece that Amber talked about that I've been working through is the forgiveness piece of everyone, because that's a hard piece, but I have to do that to move forward to help others. So I guess that's all I have right now. Do you guys have anything
So
else
good.
to say?
Oh, that's so good.
Or ask me?
Thank you for sharing. It was
I'm really
powerful.
sad I didn't write down that one.
If
Uh,
you think of it, drop it in the
I'm
chat.
trying to think if I can find it online here. If you have anything else to say, I'll look for it right now.
I went ahead and put up those websites that you sent me, so I put it all up. It's in the chat also.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Okay, I
So
think I
no,
can
that was
find
a
that
mention
other
me.
one.
No thanks app.
Mm-hmm. So it's actually an app that you can go and you can scan a product in the store, and it'll let you know if they have known labor trafficking
Right.
or different things like that. So then you can look individual products up. Um,
Thank you for doing that. Forgot about that one.
it's okay. It's one I really just heard about in the last month, so it was new for me too.
Yeah, I had heard of it and I totally forgot because
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I'm like, "Well, I'm
So
gonna
much,
scan
right?
everything that I'm gonna."
Mm-hmm.
But for
Right?
specific things, it would be important, you know.
Right. Well, and it's nice to have something too if you're looking at a product in a store and going, do I actually want this? Is this
Yeah,
something I'm going to use? And you can just scan the barcode and be like, oh, yeah, we
No,
can
no,
support this.
yeah,
you don't want this.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a
that
lot
is
of sense.
good. And I know we talk a lot about fast fashion and how that is a contributor to labor trafficking. And some people think that means just the like $5 t-shirts at Walmart or Target. It's not just that. It is also the $40 to $60 shirts at, I don't want to call it any specific brands because I don't know actually, but I know I watched a film and it was specifically in Cambodia, and there were young women who were making these shirts that then they could find in stores. They were selling for, I think, $60 for a sweater, and they were only paid $3 a day to make these, and they had to hit quotas. So
Mhm.
it was, to me, it blew my mind because I only thought of like the cheap items where like it's cheap for a reason and stuff like that. And that's true. But it's not just the cheap items.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
They've had a whole rash of boutiques that are purchasing from Shein and Temu and some of those and marking it up, putting their own label in it.
What? That's
So people
crazy.
are paying. I think one lady I was talking to said she had bought a leather jacket off of Temu for, I think it was like $15 or something like that, and the exact same jacket was for $300 in a boutique.
Oh, gosh. That's crazy.
Yep. So I mean, it doesn't hurt to
Prospect
ask.
of
Ask
flesh,
them. Yeah, I
right?
was like, ask where they get their clothing. Ask if it's a specific brand, because what we're finding now is a lot of big organizations are using separate branding.
Yeah.
They're greenwashing. They're
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, be knowledgeable, be
No.
aware, be invested.
Be aware,
Mhm.
observe, do your
Hmm.
research,
Yep.
and implement.
Yep.
Live it as best as you can. And
Well, I know a lot of people, even like for myself, where I've had a harder time finding plus size
oh yeah,
fair
oh my
trade
gosh,
brands. So I'm going to put a call out there for everybody who's watching. If you know of really good plus size fair trade brands that we can support, please comment on these videos.
right?
Please share that because that is something that we need all the time. And even like the thrift stores and stuff, um, because plus size clothing is more expensive by the brands that you can access. They've taken plus size clothing out of thrift stores and they're selling them as boutique items. So you can't even get them for, $10 a shirt, $12 a shirt, or pants or different things like that. You're getting them at 50% of whatever they were originally. And that's as close as you can thrift. That's crazy.
That's not very good.
And then they're like, oh, it's not a discriminatory practice. I'm like, only plus size clothing has that? That
So
sounds
tell me why
discriminatory
it's not.
to me.
Yeah, tell me why it's not.
Anyways,
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, so drop your plus size fair trade resources in the chat, or send us an email, or
yeah,
put it in. We're on we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn. Obviously, we're on YouTube.
TikTok.
Send us a message, and we're on TikTok through any of these,
Yeah,
and we'll get it. We'll put it out there.
yeah. And if you're a brand,
Yeah, let us know
let us know. We'll share your stuff.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I have a couple ideas I'm going to look into, but I don't know how large they go. So I'll do some investigating.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of
Awesome.
course. Well, thanks for joining us today, Mo.
This was
It was so
awesome.
fun.
Everybody was amazing.
Yes. And it always ends up like that. And I'm always like, thank you. Because it always feels like we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants. But we know that we're supposed to do it. So we keep doing it. And it
We just
Yep.
always
got to
comes
do what
together.
we got to do.
Yeah, it
Yep.
always comes together. All right. Thanks, Mo. Yeah, feel free to stay
Yeah.
on.
Love you guys.
Yeah, we'll
Love
Thank
be
you
you
guys.
very
we'll talk
much
to you
for
soon.
everything because
You're
you're the
welcome.
reason I'm part of
Aw,
the reason that I'm, working through this.
you're
Thank you.
awesome.
Glad God brought you guys.
We're
Thank you.
glad for you too. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Anything you wanted to talk about now?
Well, I am excited for our next challenge, and it's going to be coming up sooner than this one did, so there won't be quite the gap that there was. So make sure you're following us on LinkedIn. You're following us on YouTube. We do our prayer on Tuesday nights. That is easily accessible through our Facebook page. It's usually where we get quite a bit of interaction, but sometimes on YouTube as well.
Both. Hmm.
And then as far as the podcast, you still have time to get caught up before we
That
do
is true.
another season. And let
That
us
is
know.
actually what I was going to share.
Okay.
I was going to show our little promo
Yeah.
video for that for those who are not familiar.
Right. And you can find that anywhere you listen to podcasts, except for Google Podcasts, because that all came down. They're not doing Google Podcasts anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
They said it wasn't worth competing because there's other brands that are doing it
So
better.
many. Right.
Mhm. Which is understandable. You know.
Right. Is that?
Yeah. So if you listened on Google Podcasts, now you have to find somewhere else like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio. They're on there.
Yes. All right. So the podcast we keep mentioning
Mm-hmm.
is the Persons with Lived Experience podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just play the video here. Apparently the music has decided not to work, but that's okay. It is all people's real stories, and we don't edit it. So,
Mhm.
it can be intense, but it's always so good.
Right. Well, and one of the ways that we kind of got to share this whole idea was really because we kept seeing very sensationalized versions of people's stories. And the stories that people have, their real lived experience, is bad enough. It doesn't have to be sensationalized. We're not Hollywood. We're not
Yeah.
trying to be Hollywood. What we are is a couple of ladies that really wanted to have a safe place for people to share their stories, what really happened, in their own words.
Yes.
Um, and it is amazing the people that the Lord has brought around this
For
to be
sure.
able to even make it possible. I'm always amazed by that, where I don't think we could have planned it better.
For sure not. Yeah, so anywhere you like to listen to your podcast,
Mhm.
just look up persons with lived experience and it
Mhm.
pops up because it's nothing else is named that. And I will say that they're not all trafficking survivors, but they have all survived issues of injustice that can make someone vulnerable to trafficking. So it is important to educate yourself, like you mentioned, and also to hear people's stories from their own mouth,
Mhm.
not from someone's commercial version of it or edited for their use. No, this is not edited, except if someone said something that they later like, hey, can you take that part out? We take it
Mhm.
out because it is all about respecting their space, their
Mhm.
story, and but really that hasn't happened hardly at all. I think
I think just
maybe
twice.
2 or 3 times, yeah. I'm like, "That really
Mhm.
hasn't happened." So, um,
Mhm.
the first how many seasons do we have up now?
4.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
The first 4 seasons are available. You can also just go to the bringfreedom.org website, and we have a podcast tab, it has it all.
Yeah.
S and we are getting ready to start producing the next season,
Mhm.
and I'm excited, and I think we're finally ready to put some of the videos of the previous seasons out as well. So watch for that on YouTube
Yeah.
because we'll start getting it out
Mhm.
because it's important not just for them to have their own voice, but their own face
Mhm.
out there. So it's definitely a valuable resource. And as you can see, some of our superstars
Yeah.
we're still connected. We love these people. I was just praying for one of our past podcast guests because something happened with her little child, and I was praying for them. So it is a relationship, not just hey, thanks for being on our podcast. So thanks for everyone to be here today. And yeah, we're I think we've definitely moved into a new season for Zona and I, so that we're ready to ramp back up and start doing some new things. We have mentioned prayer many times
Yes.
in this, and um, in addition to Amber's resource, I will mention that we'll be coming out with the Bring Freedom prayer guide as well. So be on the watch for that.
Right.
All right. Anything
Awesome.
else you want to mention today, Zona?
I think that was it. Thank you guys for
All right.
spending part of your Easter weekend with us.
Yes, have a fabulous Resurrection Sunday tomorrow. Thank you all.
Bye, guys.